The punching power of Gennady GGG Golovkin is the stuff of legends. He's knocked down and wobbled several opponents with his jab alone. But behind the power that once earned him a 23-fight knockout streak is a variety of technical skills that most pure boxers would envy. Unlike Canelo, GGG doesn't use his boxing skills to switch between offensive and defensive styles. Golovkin instead uses his boxing and defensive tactics almost exclusively to pressure. In other words, every part of Golovkin's style is built around one thing: knocking out his opponent as quickly as possible. So today, we're going to look at the unique drills that help to make GGG such a rare balance of precision and power. At first glance, GGG's mitt work doesn't look like anything special, just very basic combinations repeated over and over. But on closer inspection, there are several unusual principles that tie them all together. Principles that are highly prevalent in all of GGG's matches. And this makes sense, as drills are probably the best way to ingrain reactions in fighters and familiarize them with new concepts before testing them out in sparring, and eventually, in real fights. One such unusual tactic that GGG uses is to start combinations off with his rear hand. This is dangerous and unusual. But the truth is, the human body is in a much better position to throw most power shots while squared up. And leading with the cross gets GGG into this position faster than throwing the jab. This can be so surprising to GGG's opponents that sometimes the cross can land a knockout all on its own. Because GGG is so familiar with leading with his right, he can at times use it like a jab to probe and establish distance, setting up more powerful shots. At times, Golovkin will even switch to southpaw while doing this, meaning his follow-up left hits even harder. Of course, it should be noted that GGG does have an insanely sharp, powerful jab, which is a big reason he's able to lead with his cross at all. Overall, GGG's jab helps him to control the ring, set up harder shots, and wear down an opponent's reflexes to the point they can fall for these blatant attacks. Oftentimes more advanced principles are only possible by attaining mastery of the basics. Another common thread that runs throughout all of GGG's mitt work is his preference for practicing one-off, fully committed power shots with no setup. It's extremely dangerous to throw your entire weight into an attack like this, let alone without any kind of preparation. However, like an Olympic weightlifter, GGG's main focus here is generating as much force as possible as quickly as possible. If Golovkin's opponent is shaken enough by the work he's already put in, then they'll simply shell up instead of trying to respond to a specific attack. GGG can then go around their guard to target their sides, liver shots being a favorite of his. But beyond this, GGG putting his entire body weight into his attack ensures that he can often break through an opponent's guard. Usually, when a boxer throws a punch, they must inevitably hold some power back to remain defensively responsible and ensure they have enough balance left to throw a follow-up punch. GGG is living proof that it's occasionally beneficial to deviate from these standards. In other words, he goes all in. once again, is Triple G's ability to wear down opponents with tight jabs, constant feints, and skillful combinations that allow him to throw these highly telegraphed bombs. And in turn, if Triple G didn't occasionally show opponents his full power, his feints would not work near as well. The two work to enhance each other. Our next concept, and another big reason that Triple G can get away with these blatant haymakers, is that he practices punching from every angle imaginable with either hand. Notice here how Triple G's trainer adjusts the punch shield, covering all angles on the spectrum from a pure hook to a pure uppercut. And the same with the rear hand, from pure uppercut to pure overhand. This variety of angles makes it incredibly difficult for Triple G's competitors to adjust their guard in real time, whether he's throwing one-off power shots or combinations. The sheer amount of unorthodox combinations thrown by Triple G is hard enough to deal with already. Add on to that the fact that each punch could potentially come from an entirely unexpected angle, and you're in for a rough night. Like his rival Canelo, Triple G will often start his power punches by his hip, but then alter the path of the punch midway. This directional feint keeps the opponent guessing about his actual target. But Triple G does this to an even greater extent than Canelo, occasionally coming down over the top with his lead hand. This can be thought of as a vertical hook, or perhaps a lead overhand. Like the great Sugar Ray Robinson, Triple G will throw crisp, technical jabs to control the fight, and wild, looping haymakers that change direction to finish it. Since Triple G often stuns opponents first rather than knocking them out cold immediately, it's essential that he knows how to break through a tight guard. The aforementioned power shots and directional feints help with this, but another solid tactic is to double up punches on the same side. This of course was a favorite of Mike Tyson's as well. Two punches from the same side can make it harder to generate power for most fighters. But if a fighter can pull it off, then it can work to break their opponent's natural defensive rhythm. Here we see Triple G practicing a hook to uppercut. The hook spreads the guard to the side to make way for an uppercut up the middle. And here we see the opposite, an uppercut into a hook. In this case, the uppercut tightens the guard to clear the way for a hook to the side. This tactic can of course be used with both hands as well, and it's especially useful if Triple G has an opponent against the ropes. The concept is pretty much the same, throwing hooks to spread the guard for punches down the middle, whether these are uppercuts, straights, or overhands, and throwing punches down the center line to make way for head and body hooks. Alright, time for the last concept. While Triple G is most definitely not a defensive fighter, he needs excellent defense to allow him to stay safe while constantly pressuring forward. A clever way he achieves this is by adding footwork onto his other defenses. For instance, Triple G will pivot or sidestep while evading punches with head movement, and will step away while blocking to dispel the force of the blow. This particular drill, where Triple G slips and then pivots out to uppercut, actually resulted in a spectacular knockout. But you can see these concepts executed beautifully in Triple G's fights against Canelo too, as those two fights forced Triple G to be far more defensive than normal. Let everyone know in the comments who you think won the Triple G versus Canelo fights, and who you think would win a third. I'll also be checking comments over the next few days to answer any random questions you may have about techniques, tactics, or strategies. And you can check out my books on power, footwork, and defense, linked in the description, if you'd like to learn more. From the Modern Martial Artist, this has been David Christian, wishing you happy training.